This video is to give you some tips on the liability waiver assignment. We're using Microsoft Word to create this liability waiver. So when I click here, the instructions download, and I already have them open, so I'm going to go ahead and just open it. And first thing I just want to show you is at the very bottom here, as usual in our assignments in this class, there's a sample of the finished product. What should it look like when we're finished? It should look like this. Notice block style formatting, which means no indents for each paragraph, double space between paragraphs, so that means there's a blank space between each paragraph. These two headings are centered. Notice the font is a little bit different here. I'm going to zoom in. This font is 12 point, this is 12 point, so these are the same, 12 point Arial, and this is also Arial, but it's a 14 point bolded. And let me just show you, because on this one that I opened up, it says Calibre, but that's not right. Here's my finished product that's not on the, this is a separate Word file that is not the instruction page. So notice when I click right here, Arial 12, Arial 14 bold, this one's Arial 12. And so I just want to quickly run through what I'm going to look for when I'm grading this. And I first of all make sure you got this in there, you inserted the picture, that your font is correct, it's Arial 12, non-bold, and that it's centered, this stuff. This is centered, Arial 14 bold, and that this is block style. Notice the margins are only 0.5. So let's just run through this very quickly. I'll show you the key points that a lot of people had trouble with. So if I were to just open up a new one, the instructions tell us to change the layout. Go to Layout tab, Margins, change it to the narrow, which is 0.5, half an inch margins all the way around. Now a lot of you, for some reason, when I was walking around the class last period in the past, students' rulers weren't showing up, and you're going to need the rulers showing on this one. So just go to the View menu if you don't have rulers and turn on the ruler. Some of you it's turned off. Just make sure it's turned on. Alright, and then when I zoom out, I'm going to hold down my control key, zoom out a little bit, and you can see the margins are 0.5 from the edge of the paper. And if they're not, then just go back and make sure that you change that. Let's see here. First thing we have to do is insert that picture. I'm not going to show you the process. I think you guys already know how to go insert picture. But where do we get the picture? It's right here. Just going to click on that image and then click on the download button right up here, and it'll download to your download folder. And you guys know where to find that. It's in your downloads. There it is, skate park. Alright, so once you've got that inserted, let's see, close this. I'll go back to my version. Once that's inserted, now you could type all of this data and then format it properly, or you could copy paste it from the instruction. So I'm going to click on the instruction file. Notice this is the instruction file. How do I know? How do you know when I'm going back and forth? This one says sample on it, and it says the lines. It's like a picture of. And if I flip open one that doesn't have the lines and see, I can highlight this is an actual document. Alright, so let's go back to the instruction page, and this is where you guys can get the data. You can't highlight, copy, and paste from here, but you can from the sections in the instructions. So, for example, the first one says, where's the first data that we type? After we insert the picture, right here. So it's all given to you. So if I were to copy this, Control C, and then paste it over here. Oops, I accidentally. Let's just hit enter and pretend the picture's in there. So I'm going to hit Control V, paste it. And now notice it's numbered, so we can turn off the numbers. Right up here, none. And now all of this is going to be centered. It's a little bit off, isn't it? That's because these guys are all indented. So I'll put that back. I just want to show you something here. You see how when I click on this line, look at this indentation up here. That's because the number was turned on. So if I just select all of it and I put all of this back to the left margin by grabbing that bottom little box. Now it's all left aligned, which is good. There's no indents. And now I can hit the center, and that's much better. And then, of course, we need to change it, right, to Arial 12. And, oops, why isn't that working? And then, of course, the color is off too, right? So we're going to change the color to be black font. And now let's take a look at it compared to this one. Now it only looks different because this one's zoomed in more. You take a look down here, it says 110%. I'm zoomed in. Let me zoom out to 100% there. Let's just pull this one next to it. And this one is at 90%. So if I come up to 100%, there we are. Now the font's looking similar. Alright, good. So again, just remember, change everything to Arial. Pay attention to what font size to use by looking at the instructions over here, because it tells you right up here, it said to change your font before you get started, way up top. And then after each one right here, font, Arial font, 12. And then for each section that you're putting in new data, notice it says now bold it, 14 point, all caps. So that's this information. So you can copy paste if you want, but make sure that you change the formatting so that it looks like this, or I'll be deducting points if it's in blue or if the font isn't the same that it's supposed to be. Alright, okay, so then one more thing. The indents, this guy, this big one here, I'm going to go ahead and paste that because I want to show you something. So let's go to down, here it is. Here's the big chunk of data. I'm going to zoom out just a bit. This one. Copy, Control C. But watch what happens when I paste it. Control V. I'm going to maximize this one. Now look at these margins. And am I at the margin? Watch, when I click in this font here, it changes my margin. So I need to highlight all of that data that I just pasted. And I need to drag this little indent. Now if I drag up here, that's called the hanging indent. So you don't want that. You want to make sure you get that little box underneath, or it will, see, it only changes the first line of each paragraph. That's called the hanging indent. So we want to get to the little box underneath that square, and now it drags both the upper and the lower indent. Alright, good. So now it's up against the left and it's at 5. And now does it look like the one that is our instruction sheet when I go all the way down? Yes, it does. Those are good margins. 5 all the way around. Alright, so those are the two of the key areas where students are having the most trouble. I wanted to show you that, a few of those couple things. But then this, the box down here, I want to show you one more thing. And that's centering. The instruction tells you how to do this. You see how this box is merged? These two boxes are merged into one, and the same with this one and this one and the bottom one. That's a confusing step. So let me just go ahead and look at that. I just want to first see how many we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So when I insert 8, I go up here. Now, there's more to this because there's that line you have to put, but you guys can figure that out based on the instructions. I'm just showing you the things that students had the most troubles with. So I could insert table, looking at 2 columns by 9. And don't worry, watch, I could even just do 2 by 4, and I'm going to show you something how fast you can just insert these. I could just when I keep hitting tab, it goes from one to the next. It thinks you want to type data, then when you hit tab, it goes to the next and lets you type more data. Now watch, if I'm in the last box and I hit tab, it says, oh, you might want more. And it lets me build more just by hitting tab. So don't worry, you can do that. You can always add more. You can also left mouse click out here with a forward facing arrow, and it highlights the entire row. Right mouse click, and maybe I want to insert some more rows right there. So I can insert rows that way. Now, how do we get these guys merged? Let's see, 1, 2, 3. Okay, the fourth one down, the fifth, sixth. So I'm just going to do these three real quick to show you. So the fourth one down, notice I can click out here to highlight that entire row, or I can click inside and drag it across and it highlights. I like to do it like this. It's a little more clean. It's faster. Then I can do a right mouse click and merge. But you can't do, it won't let you merge more than, if I just want to merge those two across, I can't highlight more than one row. I have to do it one at a time. Right mouse click, merge cells. And so that's a quick, easy way to do that. Merge cells. Now what if, like I was showing you earlier, what if you kept hitting tab and you've got too many rows? Then you're just going to have to highlight. Let's say I want to delete these two rows. I highlight these two, right mouse click, delete rows. Pretty easy. All right, now follow the instructions for making sure you get the cell height and the row height. One more thing about that is when you click on this four-headed arrow to select and do some editing, in the instruction, the picture shows this button pushed, but if you don't push that button, notice you'll click here and you go, hey, the picture's showing a different menu up here. I don't have those menu items. You got to click right here, and then it gives you all those fancy menus. All right, now make sure you get this to fit on one page, like this one over here. And then that's all I have for you. I'm going to zoom out and get that guy to fit on one page. Now, I have another page down here, so don't worry about it if you have a blank page underneath. We just want to get this all to look like this and fit on one page. All right, that's it for that one.